Welcome back. Another session, quite short one compared to the previous one, and which is omni-channel transformation. Job well done. Quite simple. So let's discuss and deep dive into a conversation for this quite interesting topic. So who we have today here? We have Dirk Abeel, who is leading the life science channel within Picture, right? Hi Dirk, how are you?
Very fine, Dario. How about you?
All fine, all fine. We can't be more excited. And we have Christian Velten from Roche. Hi, Christian. Same question to you. How are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm perfectly fine. Thank you very much for asking.
Fantastic. And Yigal, Aviv from Israel. Yigal, coming from Pfizer. Yigal, same question for you. I see you enjoying some very nice weather.
Thank you. Yeah, trying.
So let's deep dive into our conversation. First, let's measure our omnichannel achievements so far in the past 24 months. So is the glass half empty or half full, in your opinion? And let's start with you, Christian, because I know you're an optimist. So let's start with the optimist side.
Exactly. My answer to such a kind of question will always be, for me, the glass is always half full. Well, exceptions prove the rule. But no, honestly, I think if we look for what's the status of the industry, to my very personal opinion, based on what I see, we have made huge progress over time. What I still see is a little bit a kind of a diverse landscape across. So there might be companies which are more ahead, which dare to play a little bit more, which are more mature, and others which need to catch up. And the same might be true inside a company like mine, for example, but I think this is the case for all, that we have affiliates which are more mature and more advanced and use omnichannel quite frequently already, or it's deeply embedded in the way they do their business, where for others, it's still a kind of a learning curve.
Thanks a lot, Christian. Dirk?
Yes, you see, I have here a big cup and it's more than half full. So I join Christian. Definitely, I think we have really seen an acceleration in a field which we have rarely seen in the pharmaceutical or the health and life sciences industry. Of course, there was the pressing reason behind, but how it has been done. So I believe that the sound foundations to really guarantee that we can build on for the future have been put in place. And now it's a question of, because also in the last couple of years, we've been experimenting a lot, what is working, what is not working. If I listen to the previous discussion, there are so many intervenants, moving pieces. And I think now the next step to get the glass more than half full will be really this seamless orchestration between the channels, the data, what is customers looking for, what are their customers or patients looking for, and to close this loop.
Thanks a lot, Dirk. Yigal?
Yeah, well, as we all mentioned today, Pharma did a lot in the last 2 years, the lockdowns, where we all went through both adoption of remote engagement. Can you hear me well?
Not so well, no.
Oh, sorry.
No, we can't hear you at all.
And now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, so is it an echo? With an echo?
No, it's not better.
Okay, good. So the lockdown, we all went through both adoption of remote engagement across physician workday between pharma and our physicians. So we saw a huge adoption of digital tools and remote engagement. Yes, we have still many steps to accomplish, but we are there. We are there, and we are moving fast.
Thanks a lot, Yigal. Can you maybe try to fix the sound, because we really can't hear you very well? And in the meantime, let's proceed with the next question, which is Pharma has certainly many customers. Of course, in most cases, we speak only about HCP as our customer, but when we speak about omnichannel, we mostly consider engagement towards HCPs, but how to include other stakeholders as well, for instance, the patients and any other stakeholder, which is, of course, very important for our purposeful communication. So let's start with you, Dirk.
Thanks, Dario. Yeah, very valid point. It's when you really want to go to this omnichannel digital ecosystem or engagement system. Obviously, you need to include the patients, patient groups, payer groups, hospitals, and name it. And we've seen already some moves in that direction, and it depends again, like Christian said before, you have some early adopters where you already start seeing where HCP start sharing content with patients. It's still a bit more push, but also you start seeing some kind of discussion for coming up. What I also like to see is next is this ecosystem where healthcare professionals stay connected thanks to health and life sciences companies, and where there's a kind of discussion forum where a lot of the things which is happening is private, but still is giving to the industry insights regarding what is a customer looking for from a content perspective, a servicing perspective towards their patients, towards their peers, or towards those the regions who are following their curriculum.
Thanks a lot, Dirk. Christian?
No, I'm fully with Dirk, and people who know me for a longer time already also know that I'm very strongly advocating to see the patient as a growing customer segment, if not the customer at all. I also know that some people hate me for that and some cheer a lot. So there's a lot of tension around this topic, but I'm deeply convinced there's no way around. We need to consider it. The only point at this, the only thing at this point in time for me is it's a little bit unfair to compare, because with HCPs we have an established business relation, right? Those are professionals. We have established ways of collaborating, of working together. The legal setup is clear, so it's much easier to play with this customer segment, and it was hard enough. With patients now, for example, and I wouldn't stop with patients, I'm also thinking of caregivers, pharmacists, and plus the ones Dirk has kindly mentioned. But there we also, on top, we have to learn how to engage with those people at all, because we don't really have a strong history in that. And I think this doesn't make it easier. And if we avoid the mistake that we think that we can just copy and paste what we are doing for the HCP, for example, to the patient, but consider that this might need a customized approach, I think then this is just a question of time.
Thanks a lot, Christian. Yigal, you're muted. So
can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so basically the concept of the typical patient experience also shifted dramatically.
We can't hear you very well.
Okay.
No, we can't hear you at all. No, Yigal. Well, in the meantime, we received an interesting question, which is data readiness. What are the key for the experts concerning data management of an omnichannel experience for an HCP, and what kind of role is hyper-personalization playing in the sense? Who would like to go with this quite complex question? Dirk, maybe you can start. I see that you are shaking your head.
For me, we spoke data, of course, is really very important if you want to be customer and patient centric, if you really want to engage with all your stakeholders and understand them. So what I would say is the first thing really to look at is, do you have a solid data strategy in place as the first thing? How do you translate that in a kind of metadata tagging approach, which is really underpinning your digital engagement, being it your content, being it certain services, which is giving you valuable feedback, obviously, on which you can start acting. But again, and it's a bit related to what has been said in the previous session, is first of all, you need to know what is it you want to achieve, what is it you want to measure. And related to the previous question, because I would like to interject this kind of concept of total experience, because that's what we want to strive for as a health and life sciences organization. And so total experience means that anyone from the health life science company, the people who are using it, the other functions, but then your customer base, being it healthcare professionals and their patients and other groups, are satisfied. And that's a huge challenge. And again, there for me, data, and it's something you will have to build. But first, and I see many companies fail there because they do not have a solid data strategy. Even their, let me say, marketing or commercial strategy is not always fully adapted to this new kind of hybrid reality where you have this pull and push levers.
Or maybe they're looking to the wrong data. What do you think about this, Dirk?
Yeah, yes, it could be. If your too much internally focused, and that's what we also see, too internally focused in letting things work for us, from a marketing perspective, medical scientific affairs perspective, MSL perspective, yeah, then I think you're missing a big part of what it is about. And we've been speaking about it, Christian mentioned it a couple of times too. At the end, yeah, it is the customer who will decide, because if your data is not delivering the right insights, what they're looking for, whenever they need it, it will fail. And they will move on to maybe someone of your competitors who is doing a better job. So let's keep the focus external and then look at what do we need to do internally to make this work properly.
Fantastic. Christian?
This question really touches the heart of the whole story. I think, and it, by the way, it's for me the main difference between multi-channel and omni-channel. Omni-channel is bi-directional, and this means we are not just pushing out our messages, we get data back. Now, the challenge many of us have is getting those data back in a kind of a structured, coordinated way that they end up in one pool where actually we can do the analysis or get the questions answers we have, or we can even do some pattern recognition, signal detection on questions we are not asking, but where the data could provide us guidance. It sounds easy. It sounds like some fancy IT guys are pulling it together. I can tell you at Roche, we are for a longer time putting a lot of efforts into it. We are making progress, and it's key, because without that, the whole game doesn't really work properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Dear.
No, Christian, please. Sorry.
Yeah. The question for me beyond those data is, and I'm not a data expert, so if you want to expect me to answer any questions on data management and details, I'm the wrong guy. But what I know is, or what I realize is, that the true challenge is with asking the right questions. So data can answer any question, but you should ask smart questions and not some question. And plus, you should be open to listen to the answer you get. That's also sometimes I miss that the data are telling us the right thing, and we are very generously ignoring. But Dirk, please.
No, I just wanted to build on what you were saying, Christian, because for me, it's also very critical that you put the data savvy kind of people and functions within the business. Not always relying on IT. I see that happening often as a kind of a stumble stone. It is, at the end of the day, it's about delivering business value to whom you are dealing with. So that for me is another very critical point. And secondly, and maybe we should also focus a bit more there, is, and relating back to this total experience, is having discussion fora with your target audiences to say, hey, is this delivering what you're looking for? So listen to the voice. It's not only, and it's going external. And I know in health and life sciences, there are so many boundaries and et cetera, et cetera. I said, let's leave these excuses behind us. There's so much things we can do, we should do, and we will do.
Certainly. Speaking about data, I think that many KPIs changed in the last 24 months, right? And one of the certain things is that our industry is not maybe so focused and keen on the quantity, but they are rather seeking the quality of the data, right? So who actually is in the data, and which KPIs might or are not working. So I think this is also something which is changing. Yigal, I see you would like to mention something, but you're muted.
You see, that are the perks of omni-channel. That's exactly. That's real life.
Exactly. Fully agree. You're muted, Yigal. Okay, doesn't work.
It's a little bit a pity, because I know that Yigal has a lot to say about it. It's a little pity.
Maybe he can text it. So yeah. There's also a chat possibility, so you can text everything what you would like to say. Next question. What's actually the purpose of omni-channel as a pull strategy? And which channels work best in your opinion? And maybe we can even deepen the question, and which channels actually didn't work so well in the past, 24 months before COVID, and which are maybe working nowadays very, very good. So let's start maybe with you, Dirk, because you came from Pharma, now working at a solution vendor. So I suppose you see the difference, right?
Yeah, I keep a bit combining, juggling different roles, which is nice, of course. No, for me, pull depends a lot about, and you know this, Dario, when we discuss, for me, what is the purpose of the engagement? from a pharmaceutical company side, but also from why would a customer be willing to engage with us? Because that, for me, will already dictate the kind of interaction. If there's a pull and then a push and a pull. I give an example when it's about I want to self-educate myself. So I want to have, I am into to webinars, or I am a big fan of e-learning, etc., etc. So that will already dictate the kind of interactions which will happen through which kind of channel. If I want to have access to content on demand for myself and my patients, a microsite can be the right answer. So it will depend on that kind of level, understanding what is the purpose of the interaction from both sides, having the channels of choice from your customers and not always from our side. That's another kind of thing we are often struggling with. And what for me is very critical in really getting a good leverage and an adoption of this whole new engagement model is it should be embedded in the engagement cycle, omni-channel cycle plan, whatever we call it, I don't care. But that salespeople are doing. They need to leverage what is happening across these other channels, because it's about the seamless orchestration of that experience. And if I send an email and I know Dr. Christian didn't open it and I do not follow up, yeah, that's a waste of time. And even if he opened it and he went through it and I do not follow up, it's to say, hey, Dr. Christian, last time we discussed about this. What did you think about it? That's how we really start creating this push and pull kind of model from both sides. And yeah, it's a learning journey, obviously.
Thanks a lot. Christian?
For me, the best channel, what is the best channel is within the judgment of the customer, full stop. The customer decides what is a good channel and what is not.
So ask your customer.
Which is, and no, listen and watch. I think it's if you have a sound omni-channel and mature omni-channel system in place, that's what I was talking before. The system can tell you patterns and behaviors, and can tell you what is used more quite live and quite in time. You just need to be open to watch and to listen and to be able to change what you think is right. This is for me is much more the challenge. At the end, the customer decides what is the most successful channel, and based on the data I've seen before, I'm afraid to say this is not an easy answer, because there might be differences country by country, specialty by specialty, disease by disease. So something to give you a kind of a feeling, what we see a tendency towards channels which are not fully under our control, which adds another level of complexity. To give you an example, we had a kind of we put a lot of efforts in getting an understanding how to continue the role we play in the context of scientific conferences. We know that's a highly impactful engagement. Now, many of those conferences moving into the virtual space, the platforms are hosted typically by the associations. How can we, what's our part in that? Now, out of a sudden, we depend totally on medical associations. And for those of you might belong to medical associations, but I think it's no secret, they are also not always the experts in technology and having the right systems in place. And this is something we need to learn, plus other channels and social media, places where the customer is already, which we cannot fully control. I think this is, for me, the new part of omnichannel.
Yeah,
certainly it is.
I fully agree with, especially the social messaging. And we've seen like typical WhatsApp. I mean, all the issues you have, all these corporate accounts, being it whatever. But I think also we need to be a bit smarter, because if a channel, due to its policy, is not allowing us to do what we really would like to do based on what our customers are asking, I always say there are other ways around it where you maybe miss one step in the process, but where you can drive traffic, where you can start measuring again what is happening and is it hitting the target, yes or no. So also a bit, it's a call for flexibility to try to deliver and overcome certain compliance related hurdles, or when I say compliance or legal or regulatory, depending on the providers too. So this kind of flexibility is also an agility, I think, is also a kind of new mindset which has been instilled in the pharmaceutical industry, and I can only hope that it will stay there, because that will really help us to accelerate in the next phase.
Certainly. We received a very interesting question, which is for each big pharma, it will be interesting to know how many HCP portals they manage. Example, medical, commercial, product, and so on and so on. Well, you're laughing, Christian, I see. And we had a fabulous reply, which is, it is a scary number. But okay, let's be serious. And who would like to reply on this very, very interesting question?
Dirk, if it's okay for you, because we just put some efforts into that over the last 2 years, and yes, we also ended up in quite frightening numbers. But this is something, you know, which in the past was the innovative approach, showing presence in the digital space. We know, if we are honest to ourselves, we know that the traction is and the impact is limited. I'm just afraid to say, on the other hand, it's like having a V card. Does the V card create the business? No, it does not. But once you're in a situation where you might need one and you don't have one at hand, it doesn't really look good. So I'm afraid to say, I'm not sure how we can get fully around without showing our face. With ACP portals, this is for me a little bit Pandora's box. I'm not opening that to my opinion. I've not seen, except Merck perhaps, I've not seen a really good one. In most cases, it's just a place to dump our material. We have an organizational need that I fully understand, that we have a kind of logistics for the information and material we provide and to make it easier. If most of the approaches I've seen so far really meet the customer's need, I have my sincere doubts. And I don't trust any of those, metrics I've seen. I would be very curious what comes out if you put away the counters from corporate accounts, for example, and this kind of stuff. So real figures on that would be helpful. But on the other hand, today I can't really offer you a smarter approach.
Yeah. Fully aligned with what Christian just mentioned. And I also believe, to be a bit provocative, that maybe as an industry, we will have to think across the boundaries, meaning to go into some partnerships with other pharmaceutical companies, with service providers, to bring a bigger offer to the customer, which we can approach from different angles, but the overall experience, because that's what it is about when we talk about omnichannel, that this becomes richer. That they say, okay, at least I have there Roche, I have another company, and they're bringing me in one place really a big chunk of what I'm looking for, what my patients are looking for, what I need when I have my college, my lessons to prepare, etc., etc. So going beyond the boundaries, I truly believe that we need that will be one of the big future game changers. And of course, health and life sciences is not the most risk-taking business, but I have good hope that we will get there.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Any thoughts on how can we avoid digital channel saturation with our customers beyond better customer experience, of course, because I think that every session at nextnormal speaks about customer experience or mentions it.
Yeah.
But I think that's a very good question, actually.
Yeah, I like it. I think that sometimes I find a common misunderstanding, which is we have a lot of additional channels and now we need to play them all. Thank you for asking this question, Philippe. We always need a smart mix, and this smart mix needs to be accepted and need to meet the needs of the customer. And this means I sometimes take the picture of a piano. This piano has a hell lot of keys. And you can play very different pieces of music. The question is, which one does your audience like to hear? And then you're playing the music and you're just hitting the keys that they want to hear. And there are a lot of keys you're just not touching for this particular audience. But your colleague next door, who might play for a different audience, might have a different kind of music on his piano and might have a different mix of keys. And that's how I see it. I'm fully with you, Philippe. Avoid saturation. It's not about just pushing more on people. It's being smarter, more effective, and more precise.
Yeah, I would like to listen to your piece of music, Christian, which you will bring to us. What I would like to add on that is also, and I always said that when I was in different roles in the corporate world, was if you cannot answer what is the expected value you will deliver your customer, stay away from it. Very simple. If you cannot answer that, forget about it. And that's coming back to, you need to know your customer and you need to know what they're looking for. And if you cannot do it, stay away from it. Very simple rule.
Exactly, quite simple. I mean, many things in life are very simple, right? Also, another interesting question. Could you share example of platform with this ecosystem with multiple companies? If yes, how the ecosystem can work together? Well, connecting the dots, actually, that's really a huge challenge, and we hear that on a daily basis. So,
personally, I do not think there are already a lot of real examples. I know that in the back, some companies are exploring this. So not really able to give you a real example. I don't know, Christian, if you have a real example. I know there are some companies who are trying it, but something real I haven't seen yet.
When I was reading this question, I was hoping that the time is running out, actually. I can confirm we have on various levels, there are discussions going on, but as you can imagine, it's really not easy. I'm fully with you. We all know that independent sites have a higher acceptance and are more appreciated. And it's just not easy for us to find out across companies, across enterprises, how this can work smartly, because at the end of the day, I think what's it's also a fair thought is we are no altruistic social welfare organizations. It's at the end of the day also about business, and this is good because this is giving the money for doing the innovation and serving the patient. So finding smart ways for that, I've not seen, I myself, and I'm not saying that this doesn't exist, but I've not seen a good example so far.
Thanks a lot. So, Dirk, without pressure, but you're now at the solution. When you're coming from Pharma, we expect a lot from you. So,
yeah, and nice opportunities. I don't think that it's not as many times. It's not a technical issue or a platform issue. It's about a mindset and willing to invest in that together and stepping a bit beyond your fears, your competitive edge. So at the end of the day, the mindset is we bring something unique to the customer, which we cannot do on ourselves. Why wouldn't we do it? Because at the end of the day, we will all benefit from it.
Fully agree. Final thoughts, gentlemen? Single advice which you can give to our audience when we say
don't stop.
Channel, please.
Just don't stop. Go on the journey. Do it. For me, I think I would love to leave this space of concepts and castle in the clouds. This is something which needs to be done.
Yeah, I would say try, fail, move on, learn, share, but think everything you do, any new channel you engage, first of all, is it fit with your strategy and what your customers want to achieve and what you want to achieve, and underpin it with the relevant data. And less is more also in that space. And that's the way you will get there, and it will take time. So it's not that you can skip certain of the steps, which too often we see. So I think once you have a good strategy, you should stick to it and move step by step.
Fantastic. Christian, Dirk, great pleasure. Hope to see you also in person. We are doing a live event in May. Dirk is coming, I know that. Christian, we are waiting for you as well. So looking forward to it, and have a nice rest of the day. Take very good care.
Then we can have another glass full.
Exactly.
And hopefully no water.
Yeah, exactly.
Take care.
Bye.
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 Ciao.